Behind the Tab is a GoTab produced podcast that dives into the evolving world of hospitality through the lens of technology, creativity, and community. Each episode spotlights the game changing innovations, real world operator stories, and GoTab's own team members who are redefining what it means to serve and scale in modern food and beverage. Today, we are honored to take the time to speak with GoTab's own regional director of growth, Luke Coan. Let's jump in. All right, welcome back to Behind the Tab. I am Adam Howe, the Director of Product Enablement here at GoTab. I'll be your host for today's episode. And joining me is our Regional Director of Growth, Luke Coan, based out of Colorado. Luke, I always forget what part of Colorado you are actually in because we have quite a few team members out in the Mountain State. Where are you?
Yeah, I'm in Boulder, Colorado, which is about 45 minutes north of Denver.
Nice. Luke is joining us as our first employee spotlight here on Behind the Tab. And ultimately, Luke, I know that you question whether or not why you should be here instead of someone else, but I think that you have a very unique story here as far as bringing what you brought into GoTab, how you got here in the first place, and in some respects, very similar to a more than a handful of people that work at GoTab, is you have a lot of industry experience, a lot of restaurant experience. But tell me first off about a little bit about what I like to say is like your origin story. Where were you before GoTab? Why are you here with us at GoTab now? And what got you to where you are today?
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having me. Honored to be the employee spotlight. And yeah, I'll give you the kind of the quick consolidated origin story. Originally from the Chicagoland area and got working into restaurants in my early 20s and really loved it kind of off the bat. I loved the creativity aspect. I love the adrenaline rushes. I loved service. I was working for James Beard Award winning restaurants and Michelin starred restaurants in Chicago and was, working my way up from, a cook to sous chef to executive sous chef and in those restaurants. And yeah, I just really loved all food. I mean, I still love all food and I think I always will. I'm fortunate to not have, allergies or dietary restrictions. And I'm a very adventurous eater and I've always just loved seeing what people can do with different ingredients and especially seasonality. And I think I'll always, be very drawn to that and that'll hold a place in my heart for sure. So in Chicago, working through all these restaurants, and then I got an opportunity to open a brand new restaurant, an upscale seafood restaurant in a Kimpton Hotel in downtown Chicago. And then I got to see a whole new kind of beast to restaurants, which is openings. And just how much I loved building from the ground up, whether it be teams or systems or operations and getting to write menus and getting to like go through the learning curves and the growing pains. And I loved that. So after that, I had also opened a restaurant in Florida and I had opened a restaurant here in Colorado. So I found myself getting more drawn to those types of things. In between those openings, I also worked as a catering and event chef for One Off Hospitality in Chicago. Where I did chef's tables, music festivals, weddings, charcuterie classes. And I enjoyed that a lot too, because everything was kind of changing all the time and I got to see all these different things. And that's when I really got to lean into interacting with the guest and with people and really seeing people enjoy these cool events and this good food and seeing people love food the way that I did as well. So I was fortunate to kind of be in all these different facets of the food industry. After opening a restaurant here in Colorado, I had been, doing this grind for 10, 12 years at this point, and I was definitely feeling some burnout. I think I had tried to get out of, the culinary world quite a few times. It's very long hours. It's very demanding of your life. You don't get much time outside of your life. And I had finally moved to the Rocky Mountains and found myself, just in the kitchen all day and not being able to enjoy the beautiful outdoors that were right outside my window. So I decided to take a break and kind of look into what a switch would look like. And because I had opened three concepts, I had experience shopping for point of sale systems and implementing different point of sale systems. And I've used a lot of different point of sale systems in my career. So I started kind of poking around and seeing what it would look like to work for different types of companies. And the Golden Mill out here in Golden, Colorado is a great GoTab user. They have a self pour wall and a food hall, and they were hosting a happy hour. So I attended and I met a couple of GoTab employees and met some GoTab users and kind of, started picking their brains about how they like using the system and how they like working for the company. And then I watched a webinar on YouTube through GoTab that was all about the KDS. It was like an hour long. I think it was like KDS shouldn't suck or something like
Yeah,
that.
I remember that one.
It's a good one. And it was with Mateen and Taylor, yeah. And I was such an old school, rigid, paper tickets only kind of chef, and I was like, nah, there's no way this is going to be cool. And I was sold. I was like, actually, I can't believe the type of features that this actually has. That this is like very well thought out. Like clearly, people that have worked in restaurants have put this together. And yeah, with the combination of the happy hour and the webinar, I was gung ho, and I chased down, Mateen and went through the interview process and was fortunate enough to land a role as an account executive. And yeah, here we are.
Free drinks and good tech. That's all it takes.
That's it. It's easy. And a little bit of burnout,
Yeah, sure. That is something I think anybody listening, myself included, that has probably lived through or is currently living through at the moment. It is definitely a labor of love to be in knee deep into a restaurant in general, never mind being in the kitchen, which is its own other beast. And the fact that you came up through all those different styles and types of kitchens, especially like the award-winning types. I mean, I think anybody outside who hasn't spent any time in a kitchen not only doesn't realize the trials and tribulations that you go through in a kitchen specifically, but the different types of kitchens that are out there as well. I spent most of my time in breweries and full service kitchens, and they're busy. Don't get me wrong, but the types of kitchens that you're talking about, like the James Beard Award winning kitchens and stuff like that, they're just organized differently. Talk to me a little bit about that kind of experience, and just how that what was your day to day in that environment, and then how have you been able to kind of translate the 12, 15, 16-hour days into what you're doing today?
Yeah, great question. I mean, those environments, they build a serious work ethic, I think, because there is just so much pressure and there's such a demand for people that want to work in those types of places that you have to be at the top of your game every day.
Sure.
There's just no room for an off day. So I think that I bring a lot of that, type of work ethic and determination, and kind of just like I think it really comes down to the problem solving. It's just there's not really in those environments, it's like everything has to get done. There's no like, oh, we can't do this or this isn't going to work, or it's like there's always a solution. And that's honestly like one of the biggest things I love about GoTab and the way that we interact with our users is like we are so customizable. And if somebody's using GoTab and they reach out to us and say this feature would be super cool, or I'd love it if we could do this, like we're such a responsive company to that. And that's like the mentality that, I was built on with that like work ethic of like there's a solution and we'll find it. Like that's the mindset, not just like maybe there is, maybe there isn't. And I think that that's what really transfers, mostly into my job now. I was one of the first AE here in Denver, and I did that for a year. And now we've really been building out the team here, and I've been in this director role for a year, and now we have 3 AEs in the Denver area, and I think it's just the keep moving forward and the keep growing, and there's always a next step. And part of that is, you want to keep your James Beard Award or you want to keep your Michelin Star Award. You have that like there's never an end. There's never a time where you like stop and you're like, okay, we did it. It's like there's always more to go. And I think that not viewing that as like a mountain to climb that you'll never get to the top of, but viewing that as like the excitement of what we get to do, that we just get to keep moving forward and keep growing is fun.
I'm extremely appreciative of the fact that you have that mentality where it's like we want to be able to fix something if something comes in. And I will say, from my personal experience, not every chef thinks that way. It's this is my kitchen, this is my plates. You are not making any adjustments to it. If we are out of one ingredient, you're not getting the plate. That mentality, from my experience, is more. It happens more often than what you have built up through your experiences. So that's just me applauding you for having that mentality rather than going down the other rabbit hole.
Yeah, no, and thank you. And I've struggled with working with those chefs as well because I do lean so much into collaboration, and I love that we have that here too, you know. So I've always struggled with the this is my kitchen and this is how we do it. It's like, well, we might work better if we are a collective energy and thought process here.
So you worked in a lot of kitchens, a lot of different areas. You opened up a lot of places, which is always a whole different beast as well. Um, and now you're working in a, as you said, you were an old school printer first, kind of a chef or a kitchen manager or whatever. You work in kitchens that relied on that kind of a tech. Now you work for much more of a tech forward company that offers a lot of different things. You touched on it earlier, like there's a whole lot of solutions that GoTab provides, and they may not apply to every single one of our units that are our operators that we partner with. Talk to me about at least one functionality or one feature that GoTab offers that either you think deserves more attention or you wish you had when you were in a previous life.
Yeah, well, there's definitely quite a few that come to mind. I think first and foremost, I mean, I do love how well we can consolidate tabs across food halls or food truck parks. But in addition to that, I'd say from mostly from personal experience is the KDS features I could go on and on about. But I really just I love how well you can internally communicate because my job was always flagging people in the middle of a busy
Yeah.
service to 86 something or whatever. And you know, when you can set a delay on your KDS and communicate that to the guest who's ordering from their cell phone to set expectations, amazing. But what I appreciate honestly even more is that you can also communicate that to a server on their point of sale system. When they're ordering at a table, they can in real time see that this station is backed up and they can warn a table. Whereas typically, you know, they have to come back and apologize after they've put an order in that, oh, yeah, the salad station's super backed up or whatever it is. And I think that just having the internal communication with the technology saves so much time and it just makes everything so much more streamlined. And I've never been able to experience that in a restaurant. And that would have been huge in my days.
This I talk about this all the time. It's like the things that I wish I had when I was operating, right? And I have these very everybody has work mirrors, right? You still have them even after being out of the industry for as long as we have, at least directly. Like you have the moment where you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I forgot to bring table 13 a side of ranch. I knew it. I just knew it. And you hear the sound of every printer ever printing ever at every restaurant, every kitchen you've ever worked in. And so these things are triggering. And so you have these very specific memories of instances where you're doing a demo or you're talking to a prospect that isn't using GoTab yet, and you're trying to talk them through how you can use the platform. And then all of a sudden you remember like, oh, if I'm talking to myself, like I'm talking to a previous live person. So I love the fact that the product delay one is great on the KDS, and that's great. So I found myself doing that as well. Um, Talk to me a little bit about why. I mean, you talked or why you're here at GoTab, and but you also talked about how you were getting a little bit of burnout, right? But not enough burnout to keep you completely out of the industry. Like we like to say internally, like you are now industry adjacent. Um, what, why, like, why not make a complete change?
Yeah, great question. And I love the term industry adjacent because I do feel that way. And honestly, I just love the consultative approach. I love knowing that I've been in the same shoes of people that I'm talking to, and I know that they're working hard. they're hard workers. They can't be doing what they're doing unless they're grinding every day. And if we can find these just little ways to make their life a little bit easier, to make their stress levels a little bit lower, whether it be about staffing or finance or whatever it is, that's what really drives me. And also, I get excited about what people are doing. I was just on site here in Denver the other day with a guy who's turning like an old Texaco gas station into a self pour wall beer garden with a food stall and a rotating food truck. And I'm on site. I'm like, I can't wait to see this come together. And you're in the space, and the space needs a little love, but you can see the vision, and you're like, what a great idea! People are gonna love this. And talking through different ways that you can customize your service flow and how a system like this can help you kind of choose your own adventure almost. And I think that being able to like be on the ground level with some of these folks is just fun. And I just love the industry so much. And yeah, it's really fun to kind of see how creative people can get with the concepts these days, because it's not just a sit down restaurant. It could be, 3 levels with different games going on and entertainment, and there's food halls and there's self pour walls, and there's so many different things that we're doing now, and it's really fun to see how creative people are getting.
All right. I didn't give you this question in advance, so I'm gonna throw you under the bus. So I'm gonna throw you a curveball here. What would it take to get you back into not industry adjacent, but industry proper? Has that crossed your mind? Like somewhere down the line, opening your own place, having an investment in something, providing the right opportunity. I asked this from personal experience as well, because I left the industry for like a minute, and then I told myself I'm not going to go back unless I find the perfect environment. And lo and behold, it provided me with that. I got that type of environment presented to me quickly enough where I never actually left until a couple of years later. But that, yeah, what kind of opportunity have you even thought? And if you've never thought about this, fine, just tell me. You're like, I'm not answering that question. But yeah, what kind of opportunity would have to present itself to suck you back in?
I kind of have a dream, and maybe you'll still consider it industry adjacent, but it is in the food world. But I'm a very avid backpacker, and I backpacked the Appalachian Trail from Georgia to Maine in 2021, and I dehydrated 350 meals for that trail, and I loved the process, and I made all these different flavors, and I would love to have a packaged food company, honestly. And maybe that's still industry adjacent. But making like freeze dried meals for backpackers, I think would be the coolest company.
That is amazing. I don't think I knew that you did the Appalachian Trail just 4 years ago.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. For anybody who doesn't know what the Appalachian Trail is, just Google it. It's How long did it take you?
145 days, long time
Okay.
out there. Yeah.
Did you get a lot of like visitors along the trail? That's what a lot of people talk about. Like there's certain spots where like people will come in and you'll meet a lot of people, or did you have help along the way?
Yeah, I met a lot of people. There's a lot of people that just like to post up and make food for hikers or give food to hikers. And I had a lot of people in my personal life, family and friends, that wanted to come and join for sections and support. And people would mail me boxes with Trader Joe's snacks or chocolates or something. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, a lot of support out there. Great community, really great community.
How many pop-ups are there along the Appalachian? That's a great question. Like because this is something that people have been doing for a long time now, right? I mean, they've been hiking the Appalachian Trail throughout most of the year, not the entirety of the year. But like there has to be some kind of like pop-up system where somebody's coming up for a couple hours on a certain period of the day, posting up a tent of some food or whatever. And like, how often did that happen?
Yeah, pretty often. They call it trail magic. It's not like people aren't posting up selling stuff. People are posting up just making burgers and
That's
giving them to you for free. They're just there to support. And yeah,
like a
sometimes you
tailgate.
could see a lot. Yeah, exactly. Like just you just walk into a tailgate and they're excited to feed you. It's an amazing feeling after living in the woods for a few days. But they're very common. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, every industry it has this kind of like niche of like people who have lived the same things, or they're just fans of it or what have you. we as somebody, as people who have worked in the industry, as I mean, I think a lot of people work in industries where they think their industry is the industry, but if you worked in restaurants, you would just always considered yourself working in the industry. And you walk into any other bar, you walk into, kitchen, like people you just know, and you get, free shot because like, oh, we know you work in the industry, blah, blah, blah. And so this is what you're explaining is very similar to that restaurant working environment where you just know, right? You just have this like already connection to these other people you've never met in your life, but you either have a shared relationship or a shared experience, and or you're doing something that other people wish they could be doing and they're just here for the ride. So that was yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that touches on the answer to your question earlier too, of how do you stay industry adjacent? I don't want to leave the community. I like the community that is within the industry, and I like being a part of it.
Yeah. Well, Luke, this has been amazing. Thanks so much. I mean, we've talked quite a bit. Like we've been working together for a long time, but to have this one-on-one kind of conversation, being able to share it with those that are listening, I hopefully everybody listening who's made it through the entire episode, I know that they appreciate hearing a little bit more about what you do, how you do it, and hopefully where we go from here.
Yeah, this was great. Thanks so much for having me, Adam. I loved it.